I have an MTG Arena secret. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Dimir. They're all hidden right from view. As it goes, with the foil, it just disappears. Okay, if you haven't guessed, this is a deck tech. So the little bit of play testing that I showed you guys there in the video, I hope you enjoyed that. It's I find this deck very fun. My deck which I'm running on Arena, is slightly different from this deck tech. I've cut down some things and threw other things around, more something that you might take to an FNM. Right now it's $108 to build this deck. You can easily downgrade that just by downgrading a few of the lands, because that's where your money's being spent. The Watery Graves and the Drowned Catacombs, they can easily become the Dimir Guildgate or the other black-blue land that's legal and standard right now. Going with the 4 Drowned Catacombs right now, into the Field of Ruins with 11 islands, 2 swamps, and 2 Watery Grave. The 2 swamps, just in case you need to pop one of these Field of Ruins to get it. Also, the Field of Ruin is nice to take out anything that could hindrance you. Now, one thing to note, if you do run into a lot of green stompy decks, one card in particular I do suggest putting in your land draws instead of the Field of Ruin is the Detection Tower. That will help you get around any of the hexproof creatures that they have in green right now. And I suspect, now that there's been a rotation, that the hexproof creatures in green are going to dominate a lot of games, and that Detection Tower may be going up in price just so it's a sideboard card. Running 2 Discovery and Dispersal. This is a Surveil trigger in this deck. You also get to draw a card off of it. Early game, later game, it can become an instant where you can bounce one of their creatures back, and then they have to discard. This is really handy, especially on those hexproof creatures, because it doesn't target the creature, it goes back to their hand because it's on each opponent. Especially if it's a Tyrant being 6 to cast. In a lot of cases, that's going to be a big creature on board. Unfortunately, if there's a Gelta on board, you're dealing a little bit more with it, but hopefully you can lock it down. Disinformation Campaign. This is just card advantage through and through. They're discarding a card, you're drawing a card. It's nothing but upside. Especially paired with all the Surveil triggers in here. You're at some point in the game, you're going to be casting these over and over again, and they're going to be top decking where you're nothing but gaining cards. Entrancing Melody. This is nice for those low casting cost creatures that you need to steal and block with. Say they put a Needletooth down on the board. That's a very nice target to steal. Mission Briefing. Now, in the Arena deck, I've only got 2 of these because, unfortunately, I've only opened 2 of them, and I don't want to spend the wild cards on it to get the other 2. This is a very good card. The Surveil 2 trigger on it. So, even if you don't have a card in your graveyard to target, it still is a Surveil trigger. Worst case scenario, you can cycle through your deck and get the lands, or cycle through the deck and get rid of the lands if you really need to. Sinister Sabotage. Now, this is a great counterspell, especially because it's Surveil 1. At 3 casting costs, this is probably one of the best counterspells that we have going on, other than Cancel. This is replacing Disallow in a lot of decks. Thought Eraser. Now you get to pick and choose out of your opponent's hands, and you also get another Surveil trigger, which is really nice. These Surveil triggers are huge later on in this deck. Again, the Unexplained Disappearance. Return target creature to owner's hand. Surveil 1. That's another Surveil trigger, and it's an instant, so this is going to take out a lot of things that are problematic. And a Water Knot. This is another lockdown card. As for creatures, right now in the main deck I'm running 3 Departed Deckhand. This is an unblockable, and you can also give other creatures the ability to be unblocked. Yes, they do die fairly quickly to removal. However, if it's being taken down with the Vraska's Contempt, or say the Unexplained Disappearance, where there's extra triggers, they're not going to get those triggers because it gets sacrificed the second it gets targeted. So that's a bit of the upside with this card. And in a lot of cases, because it's a 2/2, they're not really taking it down very fast because there's much more other threats in the deck. Dream Eater, unfortunately I've only got one of these in Arena, and I haven't gone and spent the wild cards on more. Dream Eater is all that it should be at a mythic rarity. It's a 4/3, 6 to cast, flash flying. When it enters the battlefield, you get to surveil 4, which is huge. Knowing your next 4 draws possibility, or getting rid of a couple draws that are just going to be dead to you later in game, this is huge, and it's a game-breaking card. It also bounces a creature and or permanent. It's not just a creature, a non-land permanent. So if they have a planeswalker on board, it's another way to deal with it instead of just doing the damage to it. If they've got something that's problematic, this will take it down. Lazava, the Multifarious. This card, when I first started playing with this card, because I opened 2 on Arena, it was one of these cards where I was like, how do I really work with this card? Now, what I really like about this card is the fact that when it comes in, it surveils. It's a 1/3. You need to run at least 2 in this deck, because then he can target himself if he's in the graveyard to shapeshift back to himself. Otherwise, he can't. And what I like about it is you can change him into the Thoughtbound Phantasm, and start getting those counters. Then later on, he could become a Dream Eater, he could become a Departed Deckhand, or even the Sprite with those counters. So now you have a creature that's possible to be boosted up, then become unblockable, do all sorts of fun things with that card, and that's why it's so powerful. The one thing to note is do not leave it resting at the Departed Deckhand, because if anyone targets it with a spell, you have to sacrifice it. So it's always nice to be able to switch them even to a Sprite or the Thoughtbound Phantom. Nightveil Sprite, this card is great for 2 mana. It's a 1/2 flyer. With the surveil, every time it attacks, this will boost up your Thoughtbound Phantasms very quickly. And even though the Phantasm is a 2/2 defender when it first comes in, do not underrate that, because the amount of triggers that's in this deck, you get this thing up in counters very quickly. For a sideboard, I've put together a 4th Departed Deckhand, 2 more Discovery Dispersal, 2 more Dream Eaters, 2 more Entrancing Melody, 2 more Lavaza, the Multifarious, 2 Rivers Rebuke. That's something that's nice if you're dealing with a lot of tokens. Another 2 Sinister Sabotage, and 2 Water Knots. This deck is winning me a lot on Arena. I believe that there possibly is something more that could be done to this to really make it that much better. But right now, because the set just came out, this is something that's easy to build. It's not really going to break the bank, and if you've opened a box, you've probably got most of these cards. You know, the Dream Eater, Lazava, they're your mythics in there. As it comes down for rares, there's not really too much you're dealing with. Now, Water Knot, I guess, is the only thing that's a problem, because it is an Arena card, which I did not realize when I was building this. So you could easily turn this into a the Sphere that has flash. It's 1 more to cast, but it does have flash, so now you can do it on their turn. Or replace it with Blink of the Eye, so now you're bouncing even more. And Blink of the Eye is another card that will allow you to target other things than just creatures. Okay, just to show you what I've been running in Arena, what I've gotten so far. I have the 4 Thoughtbound Phantasms, 2 Departed Deckhands, 2 mission briefing. I do actually have 4 of these departed deckhands. I do switch them out now and again. 4 Night Veil Sprites, 4 Unexplained Disappearance, 3 Discovery and Dispersal, 2 of the Multifarious, 1 Thought Eraser, 3 Sinister Sabotage, 4 Waternauts. So Waternaut is actually a Rivals of Ixalan card. It's surprising that on deck stats it was showing it as an arena card. 3 of the Disinformation Campaign. I only have 1 Dream Eater, unfortunately. I'm running 2 Rivers Rebuke in a main board here because when you're on arena, if you're playing anything that you want variety, you're doing best of ones. 2 of the Enhancing Melody. I've got 13 Islands, 3 Swamps, 2 Dimir Guildgate, 2 Drowned Catacomb, 1 Watery Grave, and 2 Field of Ruin. So it's a very, very simple deck. In a lot of cases, you're going to have a lot of the cards for this already, and it's well worth the time to build. It's a fun deck, unlike the red aggro that I see. The red aggro I did build, and I just find it is a non-stop, just a non-stop, death fest. It becomes kind of boring very quickly, where this one, it kind of gives you something different each time, and when you steal those creatures, especially in Johnny's Pride made after it's got a few tokens on it, you sit there and giggle away. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this deck tech. If you want to see more of these, please give me the thumbs up, give me a subscribe, and pay attention to when I live stream. I do tend to try these decks out in various formats on the arena currently. This particular deck I would love to build and actually take to an FNM myself. However, my financials are not allowing that currently, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing arena, because I can do this under the free-to-play banner. If there's anything else that you want to see, please let me know in the comments below. If there's something that you want to see differently, also let me know down below. Be on the lookout for my Friday video, as it's going to cover quite a bit of what's happened this week, including what happened at Wizard's Tower in Ontario. Please, thank you, have a great day.